What's up guys, welcome to another video. We're doing another crafting video today, and this one is going to be on my alt account. Alright, pretty much the same sort of rules apply to my alt account as my main account. I'm slightly more lenient towards will runes because I have like barely any will runes on this account. But apart from that, I try to keep like only high quality runes, right? Things that I know that will have good potential and I'm very likely to keep. The reason is so that I don't waste too much mana on upgrading them, and that way I also have like plenty of mana to 6-star the stuff that I need to, because this account still has like there's still runes for me to upgrade. Especially even like slot 1, 3, and 5, which I think people should not neglect if they're at I'd say a mid game to late game stage of the game. But yeah, like you because people are having a lot of mana issues because of crafting costs and whatnot. You know, you want to make sure that you don't keep anything that's going to be too wasteful, right? Yeah, you just want to be mindful of how you use your mana, and that way you don't run out. Because I'm sure most people, after they're done with rune removal, they have to upgrade all their runes that they put onto their new units or the previous units, and you finish upgrading everything and just have like no mana left, right? Can't even buy like a mystical scroll from shop. You never want to get yourself into that position. I think that it's always good to have at least 1 million mana at all times. That means you can always buy any rune that pops up in the shop, and of course you can always buy things like mystical scrolls and all that. So never go below 1 mil. Alright, I would recommend not to, unless you really have to, like you really need this rune to upgrade. Try not to do that. Alright, try to keep a surplus of 1 mil. Now, as far as the runes that I'm keeping, yeah, as I said, I'm a bit more lenient towards will runes, right? But yeah, for swift and violent, I do try to keep only like the really good stuff. But of course, like if there's something that has a bit of potential, like if it's like a blue rune with max speed roll or max crit roll, there can still be 18 crit rate or speed, which is, I feel, acceptable. So I tend to keep those ones. But apart from that, you know, I try to be as picky as I can, and I highly recommend, you know, people to do that. It just makes it much easier, you know, to maintain your mana that way. Alright, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna have to spend a lot of mana on crafting anyway, but of course, like, you know, you want to make sure you have the mana to craft too, as well as doing all the upgrades afterwards. So you gotta keep in mind, like for me, alright, on average, I will spend about, I would say about 8 to 10 mil, right, just from crafting and upgrading runes. This is from, but this is obviously like stockpiled like rune crafting, right? So this is from, like, for this particular account, that all these crafting materials are from about a month's worth of farming. I farm for maybe a few hours a day on this account, right? I don't farm all day. Unlike my main account will farm, you know, all day, every day, as long as I'm not busy in real life with something else. But yeah, this account I won't be able to play the whole day, so it's about roughly what I would have on my main account after like half a month, I would say. Yeah, and I would expect to use about, you know, around 8 mil or so. So keep that in mind when you do like a mass crafting session. I know some people might just craft as they go. I mean, that's fine. It makes it easier for you to sort of track how much mana you have doing it that way too. But if you're like me and just like to do it all at once, just make sure you have plenty of mana to craft, because you got to keep in mind like every craft is 50k mana, right? And yeah, so 50 crafts is already, you know, quite a lot. It's like 2.5 mil, like, you know, by itself. Then adding, like, on top of that, there's always the upgrade costs as well, right? Upgrade the runes to see where you're gonna keep them or not. Now, speaking of crafting materials, I think I should probably, while I'm here, just talk about a bit about the shop materials, right? I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but I just wanted to, just in case people didn't watch that one. For those that have been told to buy the rune crafting materials from the shop, I highly advise not to do that, because every pack of those costs 180 crystals, right? That's 6 refills of energy. In those 6 refills, you can farm way more materials than what you can buy for. Of course, it does take time, right, to do it, but I think that's always going to be your best use of crystals, right? It's always going to be better than shop refresh. It's going to be better than buying premium packs. I mean, it's pretty much the only people that might consider buying anything other than rune refills are spenders, alright? People who pay for crystals. If you pay for crystals, you can do, I mean, you probably have unlimited crystals, right? Then do whatever you want with them, right? But in general, you should be using your crystals on farming runes, right? Or at least leveling your monsters. Either way, you should be using it on energy, so you can constantly play the game and constantly progress your account, right? Because playing the game is what's gonna progress you, right? Unless you're like severely pay to win, right? There's only like a handful maybe of like whales that just spend like enough that they'll just refresh the shop all day instead of farming. Now, I know there are some people that do that, but I'm sure that over 99% of you, probably like even everyone that watches this channel, probably is not in that boat, right? So yeah, just avoid buying those. I think if anything, you might buy rune pieces, right? Don't buy the symbols, because those are much easier to farm. But some people have trouble getting enough rune pieces, so for those people, you might consider buying it, but I would avoid it if you can. Like, say my account, this alt account, right, doesn't have enough rune pieces. It's gonna run out of rune pieces, right, for sure. If you're in that position, like I am, try it instead to farm for the homunculus, right? So that's what I did on my main account. I always have a surplus of like 1,000 rune pieces after I finish crafting runes. Every time, no matter how much I farm, right? No matter how much I farm Kairos or Raid Beast, I always end up with 1k pieces, or roughly around that, after crafting or mass crafting. This account always fails, always goes down to 0, and I still have symbols left. So the way to get around that is you farm the homunculus, right? For the homunculus, because the homunculus won't use rune pieces, obviously, but it uses all the other materials that you're farming. So you're always going to get some like additional rune pieces that you won't be able to use, right? Because, or at least you won't be able to use it on new runes because you're still farming for homunculus. So that's how for my main account. I never have trouble with rune pieces. Obviously, also never sell them, right? Never sell any rune crafting material. The amount of mana you get from it is nothing, right? It's not worth it. It's kind of like unsummoning a monster. You get like nothing for it, but when you summon it, it costs you like, you know, however much mana. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Okay, I think that pretty much covers that. Now, if you I should say, if you are like sort of mid-range in terms of progression. Uh, these are the sort of like the runes that I keep, the sort of runes that I would recommend you keep. Right, I've been talking throughout the whole process. You can see which runes I sell and which ones I keep, right? Because obviously, anything I sell, there's the pop-up that asks me if I want to sell. Anything I keep, there's no pop-up asking me that, right? I just keep it. So if you're in this like similar position to me, which is Conqueror 1, right, in arena approximately, anything higher than that, so from there onwards, if you are like Guardian 1 guild, like in terms of, for Guild Wars, this is where I'm at, and pretty much the runes that I keep are the sort of runes that you probably should keep. Obviously, it would depend a bit on the individual. Like if you're looking for something specific, I mean that's up to you, right? Like if you are in dire need of copper runes, then yeah, you'll keep something that might, benefit copper. May not benefit like other people. Also for the sets that you craft, I think most people will struggle a bit with progressing through Necro. It's a pretty hard dungeon to progress through, right? So for Necro runes, I think the will runes are going to be like the main thing that you're going to craft, right? I really don't recommend crafting anything other than will runes for a while, right? At least until you can start farming Necro consistently. Will runes will help you a lot more on Guild Wars offense. Right, that's the most important area to use will runes because it helps you not require you to be super fast, right? So if your Bernard is not fast enough or your Emessid is not fast enough, you can just run Will Shield on your units and it'll protect you against most comps, right? It will protect you against the Orion comps at least for the most part. There's still the RNG factor, but it will protect you against those. Any non-stripper team, of course, you'll be protected. Stripper teams are a little bit more difficult. It depends on what else they're pairing with the stripper. But for most stripper teams, if they're not running like a buff, attack bar buffer, you can probably just outspeed it with like an average Bernard or Orion. But yeah, especially for things like bomber teams, it makes it a lot easier to run bomber teams. But yeah, definitely for things like Galleon and Womberg teams, it's a lot easier to start out with Galleon plus a buff stripper plus an AoE, or Galleon plus 2 AoEs, right? And just run Will Shield on your team. For that same reason, I wouldn't fault you for crafting Shield, but try not to run. I wouldn't craft Shield because I think Violent's always going to be the best out of the dragons runes to craft, and Shield is a little bit easier to obtain because it's only a 2-piece set, right? So you don't actually need that many of them. Of course, you probably will try to run 2 sets on your units, but you can just get away with 1 set a lot of the time. Like especially if you don't have the stats to ruin your monster, you might just run something like Will Shield Blade. That's a pretty common one that I used to run quite a lot. And for the Giants runes, I think you can make a case for not only Swift, but you can probably make an equal case with Despair. And I probably wouldn't fault you for crafting Fatal either. The reason to craft Fatal is because damage dealer runes are quite hard to come by, right? Especially when you're not able to farm Necro. The good choices are pretty much Fatal and Violent, right? As far as the set bonus giving you like an additional benefit. Obviously, you can still run broken sets for damage dealers, but having that extra set bonus does help a lot if you can get like a good set, right? And running Fatal is a lot harder to run, obviously, because it requires you to have 4 pieces. So you need 4 good quality runes to run a Fatal set. So I wouldn't fault you for crafting Fatal either. Like, you're always going to have damage dealers. You're going to have to use damage dealers at some point, right? So having good Fatal runes is never a bad thing, especially if you're running a bomb team like I am. I would consider crafting Fatal occasionally, but I'm still crafting Swift because I need Swift. Alright, so let's see how we're going here. This rune crafted double resist. That's okay, right? Because it's a HP rune, and it got a speed roll. So that's actually not that bad, right? Even though the speed roll is only 11, I can still use it probably, because I still need like a good variety of swift runes to give to speed tune certain units, right? And some units, like, they want to be fast, but don't necessarily need to be like blistering fast. Example, Immensity. So that rune could be used on him, for example. Okay, so this rune, that's a pretty good damage dealer rune, right? And I think it's unfortunately it is a 5-star, but I'll keep it because it's got crit rate, crit damage, and HP is not too bad either, right? So at the moment it's got a couple of crit damage rolls, which is fine. It's not the worst, right? Pretty much you need like crit rate, but like multiple crit damage rolls is still fine. You can still I can make use of this somewhere. Ideally, I would like it to have another crit rate or a crit rate roll, which it did at the end. 9% crit rate is a little bit hard to use, but I'm gonna keep it for now because I just need like some half decent runes, and I think that one's half decent. Some units you can get away with low crit rate or lower crit rate. For example, like that rune could be used for things like a raid unit, because the raid units use Hua as the leader, right? So they don't need as much crit rate. Now this rune, it failed the first roll. It went to flat HP, which is a shame, but there's still potential for it to go into multiple crit rate, so I'm just going for that. You will notice that you know, after +6 it will skip to like to +8 if I haven't sold the rune, and yeah, that's just the editing, so don't be put off for that. So this rune, alright, it just totally failed there, but it did still have a little bit of potential to go in the crit rate. I probably shouldn't have kept this long though, because it's a 5-star. Alright, even though it's a swift speed, like slot 2 speed, like I think if you're like earlier in the game than me, you would probably keep that rune. But for me, I tried not to keep those anymore. I have enough slot 2 speeds already, so or like at least like 5-star up and above, right? So I don't want to keep any more low quality ones. I just want the, like, you know, high quality ones. Okay, so this rune, 1 roll into speed. That's good. Good start. It's still got potential to roll a couple more times. A little unfortunate that was a min roll, but yeah, that's okay. Alright, so now crit damage roll is a bit underwhelming. It can still be 14 speed, right? Unfortunately, went to crit damage, but 14 speed would have been okay for me at the moment. For my main account, I would have sold it already. I probably wouldn't have even kept the rune to begin with, but yeah, I kept it because, you know, the quality on here is not as good. Alright, so here we go. A double roll into either of them would be good to keep. The reason to keep double crit damage is you can run crit rate slot 4 and then make use of double or multiple crit damage runes, right? For the substats. Alternatively, some units can be used with low crit rate, as I said before, so you know you can keep it for that. Okay, so this one was a min crit roll, so that's why I'm gonna sell it. Even though, yeah, like even though it's like a 6-star with, you know, correct substats, I still want to have good rolls on that, right? So double min roll is just not good enough. Alright, so 1 into speed, good start. This rune, like, it's hard to go wrong, right? Especially from here, like from 11 speed, I'm gonna keep it anyway, right? Because at worst, it's a damage dealer rune, and I mean, damage dealers do want speed, but you don't necessarily need to have high speed. So as long as I can get some crit rate or HP, it'll be fine. Resist is still okay because that it will still make it like a good, it'd be a good Hua rune with resist, right? Unfortunately, it did go into resist, so. But yeah, there's no way I'm gonna sell this. At least I'm pretty sure I didn't sell it. Oh, there we go. Speed roll, so now it's like automatic keep, right? Can't go wrong with 16 speed. It's a good universal rune. Alright, not a resist roll, that's unfortunate. But we keep those still. I think here I was just comparing to what I had in my Bernard's slot 4. It's not as good as it, but I can still use it on other stuff. Even like actually, there would be a good Purian rune too, because Purian doesn't need very high crit rate, but he does want good speed, and he wants a crit damage slot 4, so that's a pretty good Purian rune. Okay, accuracy. That's unfortunate. Although accuracy on a speed damage dealers isn't actually the worst. The reason being because you can use it on things like Hua, who still debuffs and attack bar reduces, and you do need accuracy for that. You don't really want to like aim for super high accuracy, but you can make use of it. So like 1 roll into accuracy is okay, but 2 is not so good, right? Or you probably avoid it unless you get unless it's a legend rune, and it goes into like crit rate or speed for the other ones, other rolls. Then you keep that. Like Galleon can still use it too, like a speed and accuracy rune, even though it's a swift rune. Not everyone's gonna have violent runes for Galleon, so if you don't have violent runes with Galleon, you can still use swift on him. Also things like Stella also will like swift, because she can benefit a lot from the speed bonus. So accuracy on her is actually fine because she is a heavy debuffer too. She does defense break and branding. Okay, let's see. I think I was also comparing because I know my slot 3 on my Bernard is really bad, or at the time was really bad. So I was just comparing it to that. Pretty much what I need for the slot 3. I mean, the slot 3 is the easiest to upgrade because I think at the time it was like a 14 base speed Swift. So that one is just a lot easier to replace. Any triple roll is going to be better than it, pretty much. Alright, so double crit damage rolls. These runes, I keep it, right? Because, as I said before, anything with like a crit rate slot 4 or low crit, or low crit builds, you can still make use of it. You can make basically you make a low crit build with things like a crit buffer or a crit lead, right? So things like if you're using Purian, Immensity, or like say things like Punk Bake, Theomar's leader skill, then yeah, those units don't really need as much crit rate, so you can get away with that. So don't be afraid to keep multiple crit damage rolls. Also, speaking of like crit rate, also crit damage, it's a good idea to keep high crit damage roll runes, especially for Fatal or Rage. But I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't be the worst to keep Swift. But the reason to keep them is for Katarina. Right? Ideally, Katarina will probably be best used on a Rage set, but you can use any set you want. But she'll benefit the most from Rage. The reason to do that is because at the moment, this is more for endgame players, but it's a bit of an in thing to run Katarina teams for R5, and so if you're gonna build a Katarina for that purpose, or if you plan to in the future, then you want to make sure you have high crit as high as possible crit damage runes for that Katarina. Okay, accuracy. That's a shame. I think I'm just rolling for the crit rate, like just trying to go for the crit rate. It's only a 5-star, but as I said, I don't have a lot of will runes, and this can be used on like a bulldozer, right? It won't be optimal on damage because it's a 5-star and it loses a lot of defense for the because of the main stat. But if I was able to get multiple crit rate rolls, that would mean that my other slots don't need as much crit rate, and I can stack more crit damage and defense on those, and sort of make up for having the low main stat, right? But it rolled into attack, so it became useless after that. Especially because it's would mainly be for bulldozer, because bulldozer doesn't scale off attack on his 3rd skill at all. He's like it's one of the few skills that doesn't scale off it. All right, double speed roll. So that's already a nice rune for me. I don't have that many speed runes, so yeah, that's already good enough. Flat roll, so it's basically a blue rune, but I can still keep it because I don't have a lot of will speed runes. This rune I'm going for the double defense roll because again it's a pretty good what's his face, bulldozer rune, right? Because bulldozer doesn't need a lot of crit, and if I can get double defense on it, it'll be pretty nice for him, right? So I'm already a decent start. It's like a mid roll, but I mean, if I can get 20 defense on it, it'll be pretty good. If I don't roll it, then I'm probably still gonna keep it because I don't have crit damage runes. Unfortunately, it's like really mediocre, like medium rolls on both resist and defense, but it's still usable. I need the runes at the moment for bulldozer. Eventually, I'll go for better quality ones, but you know, I don't have any will crit damage, right? So gotta keep it for now. Unfortunately, there's no crit rate on the memo, but I can enchant it later on, or when I manage to get it, the enchants. Okay, so this one, the crit rate slot 4. Not easy to use, but if I can get double crit damage, it would be pretty nice. And I didn't, so it's just easy sell. But if you roll double crit damage, it would be a pretty nice rune. Just I think one thing to keep in mind is don't be pigeonholed into thinking all your damage dealers need to have crit damage slot 4. It's not that necessary. If you look at my necro units, I actually use a lot of crit rate on slot 4s on them. Partially because they were high quality rolls, and I wanted to not waste them. Oh, there we go. This is the triple roll on speed, max rolls. So already it's a great rune. I still have 2 more chances, or 1 more chance now. That one failed, so we'll be seeing the next one. Come on. Oh baby, 24 speed. This is the best rune I've ever rolled. Even this is better than anything on my main account. The big reason because I don't have anything higher than a 24 base speed on my main account. Especially not on any of my main slots, right? So I was really happy when I got that. So as I was saying, don't be pigeonholed into thinking, you know, crit rate is the only way to go. So crit damage is the only way to go on slot 4. Because if you don't have enough crit rate, crit damage is not going to be useless to you. So the alternative way to build something is to run crit rate slot 4 and then just stack a lot of crit damage substats on the rest of your runes. You can still make it to like on Violent Will, you can still make it to like over 130 crit damage by doing that, which is what you would get from the base crit damage plus slot 4 crit damage max 6-star, right? 50 plus 80, and anything you get on top of that is just gravy. And at least you always be consistent on damage, right? Because you always crit. That's the most important thing. Alright, this one I think I kept it just because it's got multiple crit damage rolls on it. Like it's like a decent maybe Beast Monk or Bruiser rune, but I have to like re-enchant. I have to enchant the flat HP off for something else. Alright, this rune, this one, it's a pretty good start actually. Attack percent is pretty nice. Because I've got a lot of attack scaling units. I've got Sierra and Anival. And eventually I'll probably build like other stuff too, like Huahi. Resist is not the worst, it's good for raids. Obviously ideally I would like a speed roll here, but oh, that unfortunate. But double resist is still okay. Like this is a good raid rune for something like an Anival or like a Miang in the future. Okay, this one. Unfortunately, the speed isn't innate, so I can't actually grind or anything. But it's got crit rate, crit damage. Unfortunately, it went to accuracy once. That's unfortunate, but it can still get 16 crit rate, so I'm still going for that. Apart from that, like accuracy plus crit damage on Violent is a little hard to use unless you run something like a Violent Stella. But I wouldn't really recommend a Violent Stella. I don't think I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just selling that. I guess it's okay on a Hua, but I know I don't. I'm gonna use Hua in raids, so I don't really need her to be on Violent. Actually, I'd rather her not to be on Violent anyway. Alright, so obviously this rune is like speed or bust, and it's a bust, so automatic sell. Okay, this is a little bit of a weird rune, but like if I can get multiple attack rolls, it's like you can use it on like a bomber or something like that. Again, it's also a potential Anival rune because it's got attack and defense is nice for raids, so that's why I'm still rolling on it. Unfortunately, the attack roll at the moment is really bad, but it's a purple rune, so at worst it's like a premium blue rune maybe. As long as I can avoid, if I can avoid the flat attack, it'll be fine. Alright, so that was a maximum attack roll, so that's good. It's a good sign. And I've got one more chance, hopefully, to get another attack roll. Even a Violent Bomber is not bad. Oh, there we go. 25 attack, so that's a pretty good rune. It's worth keeping. Okay, so this one I'm going for the 15 speed dream, right? Well, it's not really a dream, but like, it's useful at 15 speed. Only because I don't have a lot of violent runes, but on my main account I probably would have already sold this. So as I said, like I try to be picky, but at the same time, I have to be realistic with certain slots. Like the 246, I am a little bit more lenient on those for violent and will because I don't have a lot of them. And obviously you're gonna need like a decent amount of them to make sure that you can complete your sets. 14 speed is not the worst, so I just kept it for now. I think I did end up using this rune, so it's not a bad thing. I think this is a good sort of baseline, you know, for 5-star runes. Okay, this rune is like very sketchy. It's as long as I can roll multiple into speed and defense, it'll be fine. But there's like two flat stats, like that will possibly ruin it. And that was pretty bad to start with, a flat defense. But it can still be 20 speed or higher than 20 speed actually. So you'll still go for it, like still continue rolling for it. Defense a little bit hard to use, but the thing is, it's a violent crit damage rune, right? How many of those are you gonna have? Even on my main account, I don't really have that many. I have like 3 or 4, and they're not like very high quality ones either. Alright, so 1 roll into speed, 1 into defense. So at the moment it's a purple rune, now it's a blue rune. So it's very awkward. I kept it for now because I don't have a lot of crit damage runes. But as soon as I can find a better rune or like if I can't use it on anyone, I'll just sell it. Okay. Resistance, that's a bad start, but it can still be 17 speed. So we keep going for these. Give it one more chance. Another resist roll, so that's pretty disappointing, but it's still not super horrible. Double resist is okay because well, for one, actually it's an attack rune, a slot 4, so I could use it on like an Anvil at least. Anvil could be okay to use this if I enchant HP in the last slot. I guess it's more of like a raid rune. Okay, bad resist roll there, but I keep going because there's still a bit of potential there. Right, it can still be 20 speed, it can be 19 crit. Even multiple HP rolls wouldn't be that bad. Okay, so that was a medium speed roll. It still has a little bit more potential. And it went to resist again, and therefore sell. Alright, this is a pretty good support rune. Like, pretty much all of these stats are good for any support, right? Because you can't get defense on slot 1. So even though there's a flat HP there, as long as it doesn't roll into the flat HP, it's fine. Pretty much like as a support unit like Chasun, like for slot 1 you can only really benefit from speed, resist, HP, right? I guess you can have like a small benefit from accuracy, but I would actually prefer flat HP over accuracy, I would probably say. Because at least you can grind the flat HP as well. Flat HP, in my opinion, is not the worst to grind. Alright, so 2 rolls into speed. 1 was a min roll, but 14 speed is still fine. Alright, HP, that's a good roll actually, because that's good for supports. One more chance. Alright, 20 speed, Poke Champ. Easy keep. Don't even have to think. Alright, so HP roll. Probably pretty much this is a good bruiser rune, right? If it goes into crit rate and attack, it's a very nice bruiser rune. Not flat attack, but if it goes into flat, if it goes into attack percent, it would have been a nice rune. But because there's 2 rolls left, I pretty much have to go for the crit rate rolls. Unfortunately, it was 2 into flat, so this is pretty much a green rune. Wait, yeah, green rune. So yeah, it's a sell. Okay, this one has really nice substats, right? Everything here is useful. I just need high rolls into them. Alright, crit rate, great start, max roll, double max roll actually. So this rune, I mean, you can use this on like anyone, right? Crit rate, speed, HP, you can't complain. Alright, I'm rolling to speed. That was amazing, actually. And it's not quite maxed, like it's not quite max rolls, but it's pretty close. So this is already. Oh, there we go. 18 crit rate. I actually forgot. I actually totally forgot I had this rune. I can't remember who I used it on, but this is like super efficient already. I still have one more roll, and it's a HP roll, a very efficient roll too. So that's like a great beast monk rune, I would say. Or like a great bruiser rune. Actually, pretty much any DPS could use it. And plus beast monks. Okay, so this one it can be 15 speed. Actually, like, I kept this one because both of them are starting out with max rolls. Unfortunately, it just went into a speed as a min roll, so now like it just ruins the whole potential of the rune. Actually, I'm not sure why I kept going, upgrading. I must have had some brilliant plan at the time, but I probably should have sold it at this point. Alright, that was like a shitty roll in HP anyway, so it's no longer any good. Okay, HP and crit rate. Can't complain, but I think for Blue Rune you need to have double roll into crit rate or HP to make it really worthwhile. If it goes into HP, it has to be max rolls as well. There's a lot of variation in like HP. So that was like a pretty bad roll. It's like average of 6%, and that's, to me, that's not good enough. Okay, another HP rune with crit damage defense. So I think I kept this one because of the defense percent. Double crit damage could be okay, but it's a bit hard on a blue rune because it still needs, like, to be a good bruiser rune, it would still need crit rate and speed on it. The innate accuracy is pretty nice though. It's actually one of my favorite substats to get an innate in, because you want accuracy on your units, but you don't necessarily want it in your your main substats. So I sold it here because the rolls were pretty underwhelming. Like, it was like low value rolls. Alright, so that's pretty much it from me. That's all the runes I had to craft. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you prefer it this way, or you just prefer me just to do it like I normally do with no edits and just run with it. Alright, so thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.